Thriller Thursday. I am your guest host, the one who has no name. I have given Vampire the day off. Maybe permanently. Oh, he is such a coward. Doesn't want to come out in the daylight. And he calls himself the undead. He doesn't know what dead is. What a ham. Oh boy. But I am going to finish reading from the wonderful series that was sent to us by our friend and viewer, RJ. From these fantastic pop-up comic books, Frankenstein. Vampire really didn't quite understand how they worked the last time. So we're going to rectify the situation, and we're not going to do a close-up look of the comic books. We will read them and then show you the pictures. These are very nice comic books. Frankenstein was originally written by Mary Shelley, a friend of Lord Byron. And she was fascinated by the reanimation of dead tissue after seeing a demonstration of how electricity reanimated a dead frog. This was during the Victorian era, when electricity was being experimented with. And they were at a theater watching a demonstration. And a scientist had taken a dead frog and touched it with an electric probe and caused it to jump. And she was fascinated by that. And that spawned part of the story of Frankenstein. But it also came from her, Lord Byron, and Shelley, and her husband to be, from them sitting around telling ghost stories to one another on a summer holiday. And this was part of the ghost story that she had shared, was the reanimation of a dead character. And it worked. It scared them. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and read the story, this wonderful comic book of Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. The Pop-Up Tales, written by David Hoke, and story by Claire Bopton, and art by Anthony Williams, and colored by Bob Taylor. So we will show you the pop-up. Very nice. A few weeks ago, on a sled drawn by dogs, I saw a man on a gigantic statue speed across the snow. The following morning, he saw another such sled, and this time the man stopped. And before I boarded, can you kindly let me know where you're bound towards the North Pole? Once aboard, the man collapsed. These pages are difficult to turn. My dead fingers. Arthritis in these old bones. Yet, let me show you another pop-up. Slowly he covered and ate a little soup. But 2 days passed before he could speak. Why come so far? The man on the other sled, but why? To seek who fled from me. Have you seen him? I could hardly believe it. Listen, I will tell you my pitiful tale. Victor Frankenstein, that his name told me that early years were spent as the only child, his mother and father. Longed for a daughter, so when he was 5, they adopted an orphan, Elizabeth. Elizabeth was sweet and sensitive, and everyone loved her. Then his mother had another baby, and the family settled on the shore of a lake. At Bellerive, near Geneva. There Victor and Elizabeth met a friend, Henry Clerval. Cornelius Agrippa, the man, a genius father, whose writings might help me see ghosts, banish disease, and find the elder life. The elixir of life. My apologies. My eyes aren't so good anymore. Can you believe that? My dear Victor, do not waste your time on this old nonsense of modern science. Instead, that night there was a violent and terrible thunderstorm, and the force of nature caused this. And suddenly a streak of lightning flashed through the sky, striking a beautiful old oak tree and setting it alight. Victor was much excited by the display and asked his tutor to explain to him his theory of electricity and galvanization. And that was the lightning that struck the tree and set it on fire. Inspired by his new knowledge, Victor decided to study at a university before he left. However, Elizabeth became ill with scarlet fever. Yes, now we're talking. Please, Mother, don't nurse me. You are sure to become ill too. As Elizabeth recovered, Victor's mother did become ill, and without strength of youth, she died. On her deathbed, she had but one request. My dear Victor, promise me that you'll marry Elizabeth. Once my studies are complete, Mother, I will carry out your wish. Here's the new pop-up. The monster. After the tragedy, Victor went to study at the University in Ingolstadt. To follow my dream, he is thinking. There he visited the prospective scientist, Professor Kremp. What have you studied? Agrippa Magnus, Paracelsus. Goodness, you've really spent time reading such nonsense. Then Victor visited another scientist, Professor Waldman. This hood gets in the way sometimes. Not that I could see, really. I wish to explore the mysteries of operation. I would very much like to learn from you, Professor Waldman. The modern science. I have shown you how our blood circulates, this is Professor Waldman speaking. Modern scientists have shown how our blood circulates and which gases make up air we breathe. I would be happy to make you a pupil, Frankenstein. Then Frankenstein replies, I would very much like to learn from you, Professor Waldman. The next frame. Over the months, Victor worked hard learning about the human frame and its decay after death, until one day, Frankenstein is thinking, I can hardly believe it. Finally, I am capable of bringing something that is dead to life. And he decided to construct a gigantic body from corpses and give it life. Now we're talking. So night after night, Victor visited local vaults and charnel houses, collecting body parts from the dead. It was not uncommon back in the Victorian era to do such things. These people were called resurrectionists, and they made a good living. But ironically, if you were caught, it was a death penalty, and your sentence was to become a model yourself for medical students to study. Talk about irony. Oh, my goodness, the irony. Winter, spring, and summer passed, and Victor was totally absorbed in the quest. However, as the days grew shorter again, he was exhausted. And when pushed aside, this illness until my creation is complete. And there's another lovely pop-up with Victor, if you could see that. And then one day, one dark night, Victor took the final step, and the creation's body jerked, its pale eyes open, and it gasped its first breath. It lived. It was done. It's hideous. If at first Victor had been ecstatic, his feelings elation, however, soon turned into disgust. All night long, Victor paced the streets. Then at first light, a coach drew up. My dear Frankenstein, how glad I am to see you. Henry could hardly believe it. But back in his room, Victor broke down. Whatever is it, Victor? Don't ask me, Henry. Oh, save me, save me. Still ravens, he collapsed on the floor. It was the start of a nervous fever that lasted several months. He just didn't have the nerves to bring back the dead. But look at that beautiful thing he had created. Yet another wonderful pop-up. Full of horror at the sight of the creature, Victor rushed out of the laboratory, leaving the creation alone. Ah! Ah! Victor is screaming. He fled to his rooms where, exhaustion by his efforts, he fell into a deep sleep in the middle of the night. However, when Victor was only half awake, the creature had found him. Oh, the creature is reaching for him. Leave me alone. Leave me alone, wretch. I cannot bear to look at you. And for the second time that night, Victor had run away. You see the creature reaching out for Victor. He is on the boat. Victor in the rowboat. These pop-up books are so wonderful. Henry stayed with Victor until the fever was past, and he then supposed that they sort of walked in the countryside before returning to Geneva. Isn't this wonderful? Victor had said. Dear Henry, thanks to you, I feel so much better now. Just then, as they were about to leave, Victor received a letter. No, William, my dear, sweet, youngest brother is dead, Henry. He has been murdered. Wait, William, it's your turn to hide. This is a memory that he is having of his young brother. Catch me if you can. The letter went on to say that William and Ernest had been playing hide and seek, and when it was William's turn to hide, he had run off and had not returned. Another pop-up. As night fell, the adults searching for William, lightning touches as it grew dark, lighting torches as it had grew dark. William, William, they cried out. It is daybreak when they found him motionless in the grass. William had been strangled. No, it cannot be. In the lower left-hand corner shows a weeping woman. When Victor's father told Elizabeth of William's fate, she was distraught. Forgive me. It was I who murdered our darling child. In the letter, Elizabeth explained to me that before the walk, William had asked if he could wear a valuable pendant of Elizabeth, one that contained a picture of his mother. She had allowed him to wear it, and it was no doubt that the stealing of it must have been the motive of the murder. So please come, dearest Victor. You alone can console Elizabeth, who weeps continually and accuses herself unjustly of William's death. Her words pierce my heart. Come, Victor. Not with brooding thoughts of vengeance, with feelings of guilt and gentleness and peace, that our wounded mind enter our house with kindness and affection for those who love you, not hatred for your enemy, your affectionate and afflicted father, Alphonse Frankenstein. Victor set off immediately on a long trip back to Geneva. The journey was difficult, and as he headed near the city, and grief overcame him. It was after dark when he looked at the boat across the lake, and as he rowed home, the storm approached, and soon fat drops of rain were falling all around. On the bank, a figure stood in the shadows. As a flash of lightning struck, a gigantic wretch came into view. What is he doing? Where can he be? My brother is murdered, Victor is thinking. Victor spent the night wandering around outside his family home. And then I'll let you see the frame here. Later, Victor went with Elizabeth to visit Justine in her prison cell. I will prove your innocence. You shall not die. I do not fear dying. I leave a sad world. Farewell, sweet lady. Live and be happy, and make others so. And the following morning, Justine died. So I have murdered 2 poor victims, and I have not created, if I had not created the monster, William and Justine would have both been alive. It is I who shall have died, who should have died. This is Victor's reply. Courtroom scene. Early in the morning, he entered the house and saw his brother Ernest. Victor, thank goodness you were Here, Justine, who has confessed to being involved in William's murder, is his nanny. But surely this is wrong, Ernest. She does seem very confused. Her trial is today. Father, surely you believe Justine is innocent. Don't worry, Victor. I am sure she will be acquitted. I think I may have read that backwards. We got the verdict before the trial. So much for innocence before proven guilty. The speech calmed Victor. He was sure the creature had killed William, but could not bring himself to tell the world about his creation. I cannot explain how it ended up with William's locket. But all I can hope for is that my good character will prove that I am not guilty. This is the nanny before the magistrate, explaining how she ended up with William's locket in her possession. The following day, the trial began. At first, Justine appeared calm, confident of her innocence. But as the trial continued, hatred and fear and crime turned the jury against her. Only Elizabeth dared to defend her. I am William's sister, and now the accused she was very attached to my brother, and I believe that she is innocent. But Elizabeth's appeal did nothing to ease Justine's case, and she was condemned to death. Even then, Victor couldn't speak up. Distraught, he rushed out of court. And then it goes to that scene, and we already know her fate, that she danced the hemping jig, that she swung. Yet another pop-up. After the trial, Victor lived in daily fear that the creature might commit further crimes. I feel nothing but hatred for this monster. Unable to shake off his despair, Victor spent hours wandering in the nearby valleys. As he walked, he started feeling bitter until who is this? No, it can't be. The wretch is following me. And this is the monster speaking. What do you say? I will leave you alone. Refuse, and I will kill the rest of your friends. Devil, go away. I will kill you. The monster is facing off with Victor, having a face-off with Victor. I will not fight you. Only you can make me happy. Listen to my tale so that you might understand what it is like to be me. For the first time, Victor felt compassion for the creature. He agreed to listen to his tale. The creature explained how he was forced to learn about life for himself. No one taught him what day and night were, what he should eat and drink, and how he might find food. Once finding an abandoned fire, he put his hand into the embers, thinking that it could keep him warm. Another time, he longed for shelter, so coming across the shepherd's hut, he entered. "Stay away from me, monster," yelled the shepherd. In walking late in the afternoon, the creature arrived in a village of pretty cottages, and he saw vegetables growing in gardens and milk and cheese placed in windows. Feeling hungry, the creature entered into one of the homes, and it was not long, however, before the men of the village gathered and chased him away. And villagers are yelling, "Go away, ugly beast. Take this. Leave us in peace. You are not welcome here." Feeling lonely and dejected, the creature escaped, spotting a hovel near the cottage, and decided to rest there for a while. Although the hovel was made of wood and the floor bare earth, it was at least dry, and the creature was happy to have found shelter from the rain and snow and cruelty of humans. Through a crevice, the creature could have looked into the cottage next door without being seen. "You're playing well tonight, Father. Will you teach me that one later?" "I will. It will be my pleasure, Felix." "Dinner will be ready soon, Father," says the little girl. The creature watched the kind way which the young man and girl treated their blind father. This made him happy. The family were poor and worked hard to survive. That should keep us going. Agatha. We'll need a fresh load tomorrow. And that says the father as he's chopping wood. The creature tried to find ways to help the family, sometimes at night, preparing wood for the fire. "Look, Felix, something has chopped the wood for us. Fire, milk, water." And over time, listening to the family talk, the creature learned how to speak. Some basic words. The creature came to love the family and wished that he could reveal himself to them. And one day, however, he looked into a pool of water, and the creature was horrified at what was staring back at him. He felt deeply unhappy knowing that the humans could never accept him as a friend. One day, a lady on horseback arrived at the cottage. The lady had black hair, dark eyes, and fair complexion. The creature could see that Felix and the lady were very much in love. "Oh, Safi, my love, I can't believe you're here. My father's cruelty brought me to you." More than ever, the creature wanted human company for himself. Finding a notebook in the coat he had taken from Victor's home, the creature taught himself to read, but the notebook contained detailed description of his own creation. "Why did Frankenstein make me so hideous? It was a heartless act." So one day, when the youngsters were out, oh, this is neat. Open up the door. You open the door, and there's the monster. So the monster's knocking on the door. Come in. Warm yourself by the fire. Who are you? I am a stranger in need of rest. I have no friends, no relationships, or no relations to turn to. Do not despair. The hearts of men are full of love. We shall not turn you away. Father, you are in danger. Leave him alone, you beast. That's what his children are saying as they enter the hovel. And the creature saying, please listen to me. Felix tore the creature from his father's side and beat him with a stick. Out, you vile creature, leave him alone. What misery is mine? From now on, I will wage war against these cruel beings, no more than against my creator, Victor Frankenstein. Overcome with bitterness, the creature left the cottage and escaped from his hovel. The following day, the terrified family left. Seized with fury, the creature stacked straw and sticks around the cottage. And the night fell. He lit the straw. You could see, and the cottage burst into flames. So you see that he set from the pop-up, he set the little cottage on fire. And the creature resolved to find Victor and seek justice from the set of Geneva, set off for Geneva during the journey. A young girl's scream for danger. Let me reread that. There is a ee, and the monster's thinking, a young girl, she's screaming. What danger is she in? Hold on to my arm, I will save you. Thank you, sir, says the girl. For weeks, the creature hid in the woods and nursed his painful wound. Oh, wait. Okay, next frame. The creature dragged the poor girl to safety on the shore and tried to revive her, but suddenly she was pulled away. Run for your life, brute! Blat! I'm shot. So this is how I'm repaid for my kindness. Oh, hateful humankind, I will have my revenge on you. So you can see that he was shot for trying to help that little girl. Give you a better look. For weeks the creature hid in the woods, nursing his painful wound all the while. His need for vengeance grew. Once healed, the creature continued his journey until he reached the vicinity of the Frankenstein family home. What a beautiful boy. Surely he cannot yet have developed a horror for deformity. I will try to speak to him. A hideous monster, let me go. My father is Mr. Frankenstein. So you belong to my enemy. You shall be my first victim. The creature grabbed the child's throat and strangled him. He felt exhilarated. I too can create misery. Then the creature saw something glittering on the boy's neck. He grabbed it. It was the locket holding a picture of Victor's mother. For a moment, the creature's heart was softened. Then he remembered that no woman could ever love him. Leaving the murdered victim, the creature came across a barn. There he found a young woman asleep. Still full of rage, he placed the locket on her. His tale told, the creature made his request. Make me a wife as horrible as myself. I beg you, do not refuse me this. I cannot. If you do not, I agree. I will create in you a fear that will make you a curse. They'll make you curse the hour of your birth. If you do neither, you nor any other human will see us again. Is there some justice in this request? And so Victor agreed to this request. On the hearing of this creature, left the promises to return only Victor had made. Only when Victor had made the creature a wife. Victor decided to travel to England and to complete his task. And so when he had told the family of his plans to leave, I must finish the monster first. Well, let me show you the pictures here before I finish the story. Isn't that a great pop-up? One night, when the creature was almost ready, Victor saw the monster at the window. He had come to claim his companion at last. What have I been thinking of? To create another like him would be like madness. She must not live. Unable to continue with his work, Victor destroyed it in front of the creature, who howled before running into the night. Victor decided to travel to England to complete his task and to tell of his plans to leave. I must finish the monster first. I had hoped that you might marry Elizabeth before you left. I loved Elizabeth, Father, but I must ask you that marriage does not take place until I return. Now I shall continue my task. I have asked you, dear friend Henry Clearville, to accompany you, Victor. According to Victor and Henry arrived in London the following month. What a city, the heart of commerce. And the scientist who can help me with my despicable chore. And while Henry carried out his big business, Victor secretly collected everything he needed with his new creation. After a few months, the pair journeyed through England and Scotland, where Victor told Henry what he had wished to complete and toured alone. Once he prepared the stone building will be my laboratory and my home. What a shot, what a sick and filthy process this is. How I long for it to end. I can barely look at her. For weeks, Victor worked on this female creation. And one night, when the creature was almost ready, Victor saw the monster at the window. He had come to claim his companion at last. He's thinking, yeah, buddy, yeah. What have I been thinking of? The creature, another like him. What other madness? This is what Victor Frankenstein is thinking. She must not live. Unable to continue his work, Victor destroyed it in front of the creature and howled. He destroyed it, and the creature howled and ran into the darkness. But later he returned. Do you dare break your promise? Remember, I can make your life wretched. I do break my promise, and I will never create another creature like you yourself. Very well, but remember, I will be with you on your wedding night. Oh, heck no. Heck no. Your threat does nothing to persuade me to perform this act of wickedness. I shudder to think what horrors my wedding night might bring, but at least then I might be put out of my misery. The following night, Victor took his weighted basket containing the remains of the female monster and threw it into the sea. The storm approached and the waves crashed about the little boat, and the wind was high and blew him far out to sea. And after hours, the wind dropped him in the waters. Thank goodness, the land at last. And as soon as Victor set foot on the land, he was seized by two local men. What do you want with me? To give an account of the death of the gentleman who was murdered here last night. In the company of the magistrate, Victor was then taken to see the corpse of the lifeless form of Henry Clerval, who was stretched up before him. Dear, dear Henry, now I am guilty of your death too, Victor is thinking. Victor was arrested and spent several weeks in a prison cell. I have caused such destruction. What is to become of me? The magistrate, believing Victor to have been innocent, has thrown the case out of court. Victor, what an ordeal I have come to take. Victor, what an ordeal. I have come to take you home now, said Victor's father. So here's the pop-up page. See, that's them, the monster arguing. If you didn't see that, give you guys another look before I turn the page. I just love the illustration of the monster. That is very nice. Very good illustration work. look at that. It doesn't even, it's too hard for the whole screen. Victor had his father begin the long journey home. On reaching Paris, Victor received a letter from Elizabeth, who was desperately worried that Victor had forgotten her. The letter reminded Victor of the creature's words, "I will be with you on your wedding night." A week later, Victor and his father returned to Geneva, where a few days later, Victor and Elizabeth were married. "I will be with you on your wedding night." The words are ringing in Victor's ears, throughout his mind. And Elizabeth is saying, "I do." The couple planned to spend their honeymoon in a hotel in the Alps. Fearful of the creature's threat, Victor carried pistols and a dagger in case of the attack. "Stay in the room, Elizabeth. I'll be back soon." Before settling down for the night, Victor searched the hotel. Suddenly, Victor heard a scream. "Elizabeth!" He rushed back to the room. It was too late. It cannot be. Elizabeth lay lifeless on the bed, and Victor saw in the window it was the creature pointing at the corpse. On his face was a ghoulish grin. "Vile creature, you must die." Blat! Victor missed, and the creature escaped. See the illustration there, right here. That creature is determined to destroy my family. Who will be next? My father, Ernest? My father, Ernest? Victor hurried back to Geneva to protect him. But when Victor arrived, his father, shocked by Elizabeth's news, Elizabeth's death, was dying. His eyes have lost their charm and their vitality. Victor, a broken man, spent his time wandering the streets. One night he made a vow at the grave of his father and Elizabeth. "I will pursue the monster until either he dies or I die. I call on you, O spirits of the night, to lift the cursed monster. Feel desire that torments me now. He is here. My quest can begin." For many months, Victor followed the creature across much of Europe, using clues that might help him in his pursuit. The monster wrote on the rock, "My reign is not yet over." But Victor never caught up. The journey took him north towards the snowy ice, and there he is, but so far off he can hardly believe it. Hope at last. But made ill by his relentless pursuit, Victor was dying. "Swear to me, Walden, that when I die, you will kill him for me." And the following night, a herd of horses coming from the cabin, in which Frankenstein body lay. Alas, my creator destroyed all that you love. If he lived, do you think that you could pardon me? Your repentance is pointless now, said the creature. Happiness is denied to me. Once I hope to meet with beings who pardon me, who would pardon me my outward form and love me for my qualities, but now my crimes, and such that my only rest will be in death, and my spirit will sleep in peace. Farewell. And with those words, the creature stepped onto a raft and was borne away by the waves of the lost darkness and his distance. That is so neat. What a very interesting story. Very good. Very good book. I don't know which one I like better. I saw Vampire's version, and then I read this one. Certainly Vampire has his own flair, and I appropriately read one about death. Oh, Vampire. What a guy he is. But I hope you enjoyed this retelling of Frankenstein. So if you did, please be so kind as to leave a thumbs up and leave a comment. And we will be glad to get back with you in those comments. And please don't forget to subscribe if you so choose to. It's been lovely meeting you all. Take care. And I was told to say, be kind to yourselves, be kind to others, and be kind to your animals. Yes, kindness does go a long way. So, yes, so, we will see you again someday, hopefully. Just enjoy this beautiful face. Good night, all.